of international law. Notably, earlier he even condemned Israeli strikes on Iran but failed to mention United States. Well, Sunday's unrest came amid ongoing cross-border fighting between Pakistan and Afghanistan, which began last week after Afghanistan had launched attacks in retaliation for Pakistani airstrikes. Well, India's aviation sector is facing severe turbulence amid escalating geopolitical tensions in West Asia, with large parts of airspace declared as no-go zone. Indian carriers have cancelled as many as 1,000 flights in just 3 days. This has impacted not only passengers but also airlines businesses. Yon's Kanishka Sarkar gets us more.
With the DGCA advising airlines to avoid airspace across 11 West Asian regions, key international corridors have been disrupted. Multiple cancellations and rerouting has led to increasing flying time and also fuel burn. Not just that, it's also a triple whammy for Indian airline businesses.
Well, Indian carriers including Air India, Indigo and SpiceJet among others have issued travel advisories citing safety concerns. They've even cancelled all flights to and from West Asia. Also, several long-haul flights to the US, Europe and Canada have either been cancelled or rerouted. Estimates even suggest nearly 1,200 flights have been cancelled by Indian carriers over the 3 days. This has left thousands of passengers in the lurch. For stranded passengers, airlines have extended flexibility and waivers. Air India and Indigo have offered passengers free rescheduling or cancellation until 5th of March and the 7th respectively. This is for flights to and from West Asia. Beyond also reached out to travel platforms to understand the quantum of impact. However, without divulging any numbers, Make My Trip said that since it is an evolving situation, it is doing its best to focus on its consumers. In fact, it is not just passengers who are suffering. Indian carriers are also staring at major losses following the war-related cancellations, especially because of Dubai airspace closure. Dubai is a crucial hub for Indian Airlines, both for passenger travel and cargo. Brokerage MK Global Financial Service also warned that prolonged conflict could weigh heavily on airline margins, while carriers may attempt partial fare hikes. Sustained crude spikes and even weak demand could compress profitability further. This is what the brokerages said. President Emmanuel Macron has said that France is moving into a new phase of what he calls advanced nuclear deterrence, outlining a stronger security role for the country amid global threats. Macron even said that France's nuclear strategy must adapt to an increasingly unstable world, positioning its deterrent as a key pillar of security for Europe. From France's nuclear submarine base, the French president stressed the need to reinforce deterrence while maintaining full national sovereignty.
To the path of what I would call advanced deterrence. I would rather say it straight away. There will be no sharing of the final decision, nor of its planning, nor of its implementation. Under our Constitution, it belongs solely to the President of the Republic, who is answerable to the French people.
Macron announced that France will modernize and strengthen its nuclear forces as part of this shift, describing the move as carefully planned and gradual process. He even confirmed an increase in the country's nuclear warheads, but said that France will no longer disclose detailed figures about its arsenal, signaling a more guarded approach to nuclear transparency going forward.
That is why I have ordered an increase in the number of nuclear warheads in our arsenal. To put an end to any speculation, we will no longer disclose figures relating to our nuclear arsenal, unlike what may have been done in the past. So, to be free, one must be feared, and to be feared, one must be powerful. This increase in our arsenal is proof of that.
French President Emmanuel Macron also announced a new cooperation with Germany and the United Kingdom on advanced missile development.
As regards deep strike capability, Germany, the United Kingdom and France, within the framework of our so-called ELSA initiative, will work together on very long-range missile projects. This will give us new options for managing conventional escalation at a time when adversaries are deploying new technologies and weaponry.
even as we continue the righteous mission. They have waged war against civilization itself. True American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice.
Well, that's all we had in this edition of our broadcast. News and updates to continue. You're watching Beyond World is One. Stay tuned.
Where darkness hides behind every corner. Where the truth is stranger than fiction. A show that dives deep into the stories which shock and mystify. Unsolved murders. Psychopaths who defy explanation. International war crimes. And millions swindled in financial fraud. The victims, the accused, and the sinister float. Crime is your front row seat to darkness.
Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere.
US strikes. Israel strikes. Iran burns. Weeks of build-up. Largest American weaponry deployed. Diplomacy loses
Citizens
to war.
of Israel.
Trump takes a big decision.
The United States military began major combat operations in Iran.
Hours after bombs started raining on Iran, Iran strikes back with missiles. Hours after bombs started raining on Iran, Israel and US bases across West Asia targeted. Israel and US Iran across West Asia targeted. America will fall. US and Israel at war with Iran. Continuous coverage on VIA. US and Israel at
Where
war with
darkness
Iran.
hides behind
Continuous
every
coverage
corner.
on VIA.
Where the truth is stranger than fiction. Every corner. A show that dives deep where the truth stories stranger shock and mystify. Unsolved murders. Psychopaths who defy explanation. International war crimes. And millions swindled in financial fraud. International war crimes. Victims, the accused, millions, and the sinister flow. Crime. Your front row seat. The accused, the millions, and the sinister flow. Crime. Your front row seat. The accused, the millions, and the sinister.
Lay down your arms. You will be treated fairly with total immunity, or you will face lay down your arm death. You will be treated fairly with total immunity, or lay down your arm death. You will be treated fairly with total immunity, or lay down your arm
Thanks for staying tuned to Beyond. I'm Samishra Srivastava. Let's quickly get started with the headlines you're tracking this up. Thanks for staying tuned to Beyond. I'm Samishra Srivastava. Let's quickly get started with the headline headlines. Trump says operations in Iran can go for 4 to 5 weeks. However, US forces are prepared for longer duration. Trump says operations in Iran can go for 4 to 5 weeks. However, US forces are prepared for longer duration.
Annihilating their Navy. We've knocked out already 10 ships. They're at the bottom of the sea. Annihilating their Navy. We've knocked out already 10 ships.
Donald Trump says that he took the decision to launch a war against Iran because it was the last best chance to stop Tehran from Donald Trump says that nuclear capacities says US knocked out 10 Iranians because it was the last best chance to stop Tehran. Donald Trump says that nuclear capacities says US knocked out 10 Iranians because it was the last best chance to stop Tehran. Donald Trump says that nuclear capacities says US knocked out 10 Iranians. Lebanese government says Israeli strikes on Lebanon killed at least 52 people and wounded 54 others. Lebanese bombing of southern and eastern Lebanon and Beirut southern suburb also displaced more than 20,000. Bombing of southern and eastern Lebanon and Beirut southern suburb also displaced more than 20,000. Bombing of southern and eastern Lebanon and Beirut southern suburb. The Palestinian Islamic Jihad militant group says that a commander of its Lebanon wing was killed. The Palestinian Islamic Jihad militant group says southern suburbs of its Lebanon. The PIJ is an ally of both Hezbollah and Hamas. Iran says it has targeted 60 strategic locations and 500 military sites belonging to the US and Israel using over 700 drones and hundreds of missiles. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu says the joint US-Israeli campaign against Iran aimed in part to create the conditions for Iranians to oust their leadership, adds that the time is approaching for them to do so. Qatar says its air defenses have shot down 2 Iranian Sukhoi 24 aircraft, 7 ballistic missiles and 5 drones that targeted areas in the country. Air India Express will restart flights to and from Muscat on Tuesday after suspending services in the wake of the West Asia conflict. The airline's services to Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia and the UAE will remain suspended on 3rd of March.
Even as we continue the righteous mission, they have waged war against civilization itself. True American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice.
And we begin with breaking news that is just coming in. This is the Iranian President Pezeshkian who has said that his country will not remain silent after US-Israeli strikes on a school and a Tehran hospital. In fact, he's taken to X and has said that attacks on hospitals are a strike at life itself and that attacks on schools target a nation's future. The world must condemn it. In fact, he's gone on to add that Iran will not remain silent or yield to these crimes, adding that Iran has claimed 168 were, while Iran has claimed 168 were killed at the school in the south on Saturday, while the incident at Tehran's Gandhi hospital took place on Sunday. So this is the latest statement that's coming in from the Iranian president, who says that the country will not remain silent and that it will retaliate against the strikes being carried out by the US and Israeli forces. So this is with respect to the strikes, the airstrikes that were carried out by the US and Israeli forces.